The Ninth Legion, nearly 5,000 men, marched into history and then into silence. It was one of Rome's most disciplined and battle-hardened units. Did they fall to northern tribes in the mist, vanish in foreign deserts, or were they erased deliberately by Rome itself? Today, we uncover the mystery that still haunts historians, the fate of the lost Ninth.
The story of Rome's Ninth Legion is one of history's great enigmas, a tale whispered across centuries like a riddle that refuses to be solved. At its height, the Legion was one of Rome's most formidable, a steel-clad force of nearly 5,000 soldiers. They marched beneath the imperial eagle, carrying Rome's authority into lands far from the heart of the empire. And yet, somehow, they simply vanished. No great battle is recorded, no clear account of their destruction, just silence and a trail that fades into shadows. The Ninth Legion, or Legio IX Hispana, was no ordinary force. It earned its name fighting in Spain, won glory under Augustus, and shed blood in the sprawling theaters of the empire. But by the early 2nd century, its story turns murky. Some chronicles still list it as active, while others are strangely silent. It is as though an entire legion had been swallowed by the earth itself. The mystery begins in Britain, the wild northern frontier of Rome. Around the year 108 CE, the Ninth was stationed at Eboracum, modern-day York, tasked with subduing the restless tribes beyond Hadrian's yet-to-be-built wall. The Britons were fierce, relentless, and unyielding to Roman authority. Rumors grew of uprisings to the north, whispering of confederations forming in the misty highlands. Ancient historians give us tantalizing fragments, but never the full picture. Tacitus, who documented so much of Rome's struggles in Britain, goes silent about the legion after a certain point. Later, Hadrian's construction of a massive defensive wall across northern Britain has led many to wonder, was the wall not a precaution, but a tombstone? A monument to the Ninth's disappearance, carved in stone across the landscape.
When we see Hadrian's wall rise shortly after the Ninth disappears from record, we cannot help but make connections. Walls are built in response to fear. Was the Ninth's destruction so devastating that Rome's answer was to seal off the North entirely? It is not proof, but it is a tantalizing circumstantial clue.
One theory holds that the Ninth marched north into the mists of Scotland and never returned. Imagine it, a column of legionaries, their shields gleaming, their standards raised high, vanishing into the forests. Did they fall in some cataclysmic ambush, overwhelmed by tribes that melted back into the hills, leaving no trace? No survivor accounts, no Roman burial pits, just silence. But then, other clues complicate the story. Some inscriptions suggest the Ninth was active after Britain, possibly redeployed to the continent. One fragment found in the Netherlands bears its name. Another points toward the distant eastern provinces. Could the Ninth have survived Britain's dangers, only to be destroyed far from home, in some forgotten clash with Rome's eastern enemies? The Parthian Empire, fierce rival to Rome, loomed in the east. If the Ninth had been sent there, perhaps it perished in a brutal desert campaign, the sands burying the last memory of their existence. Or perhaps they were destroyed piecemeal, scattered by rebellions in Judea or along the Danube. The absence of records only deepens the riddle. Some scholars argue the legion's disappearance was too great to be accidental. Could the silence be deliberate? Was the legion's loss so humiliating that Rome itself sought to erase it from memory? An empire built on invincibility could hardly afford to admit that one of its finest legions had been annihilated by barbarians. Erasure, after all, was sometimes Rome's preferred solution.
Rome was a master of narrative. They wrote about victories in vivid detail and defeats with equal precision. But occasionally, when a disaster was too catastrophic, Rome preferred silence. The ninth may have been erased not because of where it fell, but because of what its loss symbolized: weakness at the edge of empire.
This raises a chilling thought. What if the true fate of the ninth lies not in lost records, but in deliberate silence? A cover-up, buried by those who feared the truth might spread doubt across Rome's far-flung armies. If so, the silence itself is the evidence, the absence speaking louder than words. And yet, the mystery endures in the very soil of Britain. Excavations near York reveal traces of the legion's fortress, coins, and remnants of daily life. Then, the trail ends. No grave markers, no burned ruins, no layer of destruction. It is as if the legion packed up and left overnight. But to where? To oblivion or to another frontier? Over the centuries, storytellers have filled the gaps with legend. Some imagine the ninth swallowed by the mists of Caledonia, their bones scattered in bogs and glens. Others picture them as deserters, melting into the land and becoming one with the tribes they once fought. There are even whispers of survivors marching home, stripped of their honor, nameless in Rome's crowded streets. The allure of the ninth's fate lies in this absence of certainty. The Romans, masters of record-keeping, left us no definitive answer. For a civilization that documented everything from gladiator games to grain shipments, the missing ninth is a glaring silence. And silence, in history, is often more provocative than words.
I think the fascination comes from the lack of closure. Most legions we can trace, where they fought, where they died. The ninth is different. It teases us. Every fragment of evidence suggests an answer just out of reach, forcing us to fill the gaps with imagination. And that is why it endures as a mystery.
Modern historians and archaeologists continue the chase. Each inscription discovered, each shard of pottery unearthed, is scrutinized for signs of the ninth, and yet the puzzle remains unsolved. The legion hovers between myth and fact, caught in that liminal space where history meets mystery. Even Rome itself seemed haunted by the legion's vanishing. The Ninth Legion's fate has inspired novels, films, and endless debate. Each version invents an ending: glorious defeat, humiliating destruction, or secret survival. But the truth remains elusive, buried beneath centuries of speculation. What end could possibly erase 5,000 men so completely from the record? In the end, their disappearance is not just about soldiers, but about the nature of history itself. We look into the past seeking certainty, but sometimes all we find are shadows. And in those shadows, legends are born. The Ninth Legion, vanished yet unforgettable, remains Rome's most enduring ghost.